Alright, people. The full card for Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov has been revealed. And boy, is this a good card. This card on paper was one of the strongest cards I've seen, even after you take out the fact that originally we were meant to have Virgil Ortiz versus Tim Tszyu. That fight has obviously been, I don't know, is it going to get rescheduled? I don't know what's going to happen with it. But Tim Tszyu obviously sustained cuts in his previous fight against Fundora. They hadn't healed sufficiently to the point where he could spar. So, of course, under those circumstances, I mean, you can't spar, and the cut is still there. So we can understand why they pushed that fight back, or God knows what's happening with it now. You take that fight away from this card, and it's still a stacked card. Like, it is absolutely brilliant. And you take a fight that, personally, I was looking forward to the most, was Ortiz versus Tszyu. You take that away, it's still a stacked card. And now, bear in mind, we have the likes of Dave Morrell in action, Isaac Cruz, Andy Cruz, Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Miller, which, for me, that heavyweight fight right there is a brilliant heavyweight fight. I think that's going to be fun. I think that both guys have a lot to prove. Both guys have a lot of questions that need to be answered. Jarrell Miller, how is he going to bounce back from that Daniel Dubois loss where he was stopped in the final round in the dying seconds, where he was hurt by Daniel Dubois? Andy Ruiz. I mean, people, it's not unfair to say that Andy Ruiz hasn't had a good performance since that first fight he had with Anthony Joshua 5 years ago. And actually, if I'm not very much mistaken, I think that was June the 1st as well. Eddie Hearn doesn't seem to like June the 1st. June the 1st, 2019, Joshua loses for the first time. June the 1st, 2024, Queensbury 5-0 winners over Matchroom. Eddie, don't really know what you're going to be doing on the 1st of June 2029, but maybe just stay home that day. No boxing. June the 1st is a date Eddie Hearn is just going to scribble out of his calendar from now on. But we do genuinely have a lot of questions to ask about Andy Ruiz, because he's been out of the ring, by the time this fight happens, he'll have been out of the ring nearly 2 years, 23 months out of the ring. It's a long time. And whilst Miller may be coming off the back of a loss, he's still been active. He's fought Daniel Dubois over 10 rounds, in a losing effort, has to be said. Has fought the likes of Bracamonte, has fought the likes of Lucas Brown, albeit they're not the greatest caliber of opponent, but nevertheless, you're still going in and you're still getting rounds in the bank. You're still match fit. Andy Ruiz, we don't know where he's at. And as I said, it's not unrealistic to say he hasn't had a decent performance since the Anthony Joshua fight, the first fight 5 years ago. Because think about it, he lost the rematch, was soundly beaten by Anthony Joshua, took 2020 off, came back against Chris Arreola, who against Deontay Wilder in 2016 had seen better days. This was 2021. And Andy Ruiz was dropped in that fight. He didn't look good. He then is out of the ring for over a year again to go in there with Luis Ortiz. And although he dropped him a couple of times, he still didn't look amazing in that fight. So with Andy Ruiz, the jury's out. If this was prime for prime, I would take Andy Ruiz every day of the week and twice on a Sunday over Jarrell Miller. But I don't know what kind of Andy Ruiz we're going to get. But I likewise don't know what Jarrell Miller we're going to get. This, to me, was one of the more intriguing fights on this card. And then today, we get the announcement. Jared Anderson will be on this card. Jared Anderson, American prospect, very, very talented fighter. Tremendous. Works with Bob Arum, signed to him, fights on Top Rank. This will be his first time on a show, headed up by the Saudis. And he's in there against Martin Bakole. I didn't see this fight coming. I didn't even hear rumours about this fight coming. This is a really interesting fight. For me, what I do have to say, it does seem a little bit counterintuitive to the direction they were bringing Jared Anderson in. And what I mean by that is, after the Charles Martin fight, Bob Arum kind of alluded to the fact that he was going to rein it in a little bit, just a little bit. That maybe they're rushing Jared Anderson, they're rushing him a little bit. There's a few little things there that you need to work on. Defense, how to get rid of an awkward opponent. His last fight, he went the distance again. And you're kind of looking and thinking, okay, there's baby steps. You're at a good level, you can get better, but baby steps. This ain't a baby step. This is big, and this is a really hard fight for Jared Anderson. A really hard fight. Martin Bakole in his last fight against Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam has always been a very durable, a very tough, a very good fighter who still had some good wins in him, like Tony Yoka. And he went in there in Saudi Arabia on the undercard of Fury Ngannou, nearly 300 pounds, and I've never seen anything like that done to Carlos Takam. I mean, Derek Chisora laid Carlos Takam out, as did Povetkin. But these were competitive fights. Chisora was on the brink of getting stopped. Povetkin had a really hard time against Carlos Takam. And Bakole went in there, just boom, done. See you later. This, I worry, could this be a case of, in the ring, man against boy? Because Jared Anderson will not be able to compete physically in terms of physical strength with Martin Bakole. No way. Will the speed compensate? But he does have a leaky defense. This is a really interesting fight. But this could really, this could be a bridge too far, too soon for Jared Anderson. It really could be. If he can pull this win off against Bakole and he does it in good fashion, I will be mega impressed. Because I think that this isn't just, baby steps from the likes of Charles Martin. This is big steps forward. Big steps. Is he ready? We'll know on August the 3rd. And as I said, as if this card needed to be any better, it now has a cracking heavyweight fight between a young, hungry fighter on the come-up and a fighter like Bakole, who is desperate for a title shot, who is desperate to prove that he is one of the top heavyweights in the world. And this is his opportunity. Let's go. I like this fight. I think this card is epic. There's not much more I can say other than that. I cannot wait. August the 3rd. This fight card right here is going to be electric. And I cannot wait. I think it's a great undercard. I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you could, smash the like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. And lads and lassies, I'll leave it there.